as we pass through life, sadness comes into our life because we experience pain of separation from our, let's say, parents or loved ones. We experience situations which we never expected. When some things happen contrary to what we expect, there's pain. And whenever we are in that state, and we start to then later on think about it, those that we love, those that we've been close to, over the years, somehow seems like we're getting further away from them because of something that has happened. And when that happens, then you sort of start to wonder why. And when you start to think on those terms, then you start to realize the impermanence of life itself. And there's no guarantee that our parents are going to be there forever. So they are going to leave. There's no guarantee that our spouses are going to be there forever and they're going to leave. And there's no guarantee that our children are going to be there forever. And sometimes in the life of parents, the children leave. Yeah. So when these things happen, that's a very, very difficult to deal with. But the realization that that relationship was temporary, it's not there forever, when that sets in, then we start to look for the relationship which is permanent. And so when we start to look in this environment in which we find ourselves in the physical world, what is permanent here is only God the Creator. Then you start to develop your relationship with God. Because the realization that God is there all the time, permanently there, makes us solidify our relationship with God. That's what spiritual awareness, spiritual growth is all about. That we solidify our relationship with God. And when we solidify our relationship with God, then the joy and the happiness that we feel is permanent. It's always going to last. God is not dying, we are dying. Right? So God will still be there when we die. And if we've done well, then we can be one with God as we leave the physical body for good. So that state of oneness of a soul with God, if we can realize that connection while we are in the physical body, that joy and happiness always helps us. And it is many times in the life of many, many people when someone who's very close to them has either departed or something's happened that you don't expect, or all of a sudden your relationship is broken, then you start to look at that relationship and then you realize, hey, this was temporary anyway. Maybe it was there for a few years. If it's gone, it's not the end of the world. Because there is a permanent relationship that we can have. And many people turn towards God in those difficult times, in those times when they feel something missing in their life. And so I would say that as we go through these relationships, which, whether it be death, whether it be separations, whether it be times that we find ourselves in difficult situations with loved ones, so those are times when we start to search for something that is more permanent. And that's when we start to focus more and more attention on God and strengthening our relationship with God and finding the joy and peace and love and bliss of being in that state permanently. And that really puts us in a state of bliss. And so the more we stay in that state, the more we strengthen our relationship with God, the better we find ourselves to be. And this is why those who have spiritual awareness, they then start to meditate, they then start to experience the true self, which is their soul, and they start to have that soul soar into the inner spiritual regions with help and guidance, and they are looking for a real connection with God the Creator. And when that connection is made, that's a permanent connection, Because God is always going to be there. So when we physically shed the body, then our soul will still be able to merge in the Creator. And so happiness and joy which has started never ends. Just like Sant Darshan Singh Ji Maharaj has said, love has only a beginning, it has no end. So that love which has no end is the love for God. Love for any other human being here ends. It may end with the death of someone, it can end with a misunderstanding, it can end because the person moved away, far away, or whatever's happened in their life. But love for God is permanent. It stays on and on and on. It's there forever. And that's why the saints are exhorting us to focus our attention not on others in this world, but on God. And know that as that connection is made with the Creator, that we will find love which is lasting. We will find love which is eternal. We'll find states of happiness and joy that will last and last and last. And that is what makes us truly, truly happy and joyous.